Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing some test hands of my heroes. So I'm really excited for this one because this is actually a deck that I carry to locals, even to like regionals or something like that, and play with this deck because it is a really fun deck. I carry this and BLACKWINGs and my Red Eyes and my Dark Armed Dragon deck around with me all the time whenever I go to like a tournament or something like that, because these are like my favorite decks to play with, especially with Malicious Bane being such an awesome looking card and having such a broken, crazy effect. So, without further ado, guys, let's get straight on into this. And don't forget to check out the Patreon down in the description because we have some really cool rewards for you guys, like getting a signed card sent to you in the mail, getting your name in the description of every single video, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month that you are a patron. But without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So, first off, we are going to do what I did in the last video with the BLACKWINGs, and we're going to just do some standard, and I'm going to throw my cards down because sometimes you just got to throw down a face down. So sometimes that does happen. You guys know how it is. When you shuffle, you just kind of lose your hands, and your hands are like, and you just lose your cards. It happens. It happens, you know. So we're just going to go into this and see what we can get out of some, you know, hero hands, and I'm interested to see what this does because this is at least a tier 2 contender, and I'm excited to see what it does. So we're going to do like we did last time, and I'm going to show you like a couple of cards that we draw. So we're going to do Shadow Mist, Solemn Judgment, Plasma, Increase, and a Dusted Gold. That's not the greatest hand ever, but if we were going second, we'd draw that Vion, and the Vion would really get us start to play because we've already got 2 of the cards that we would search, which is the Destiny Hero, Plasma, and the Evil Hero, a Dusted Gold, so we can search out of the deck some cards, which is really helpful. We still have plays there, it just is a little bit more fragile than your average play. So let's see what else we can get for our next test hand, because I always do 3 of these to show you guys what some 3 test hands look like without playing them out, and then I'm going to show you guys what an actual play out hand would look like. So we get a Stratos, which it's already a good hand because we have Stratos. It's even a better hand because we got 2 Stratoses. Can we go for 3? No, we got a Rhoda, so we got 3 Stratoses. Okay. Judgment and a single copy of E-Call. So we have double searching. So this is basically 2 free cards from the deck. And then we have 2 Stratoses, which is like a triple search out of the deck, which is really good. And then we got Little Squirtman, which is Elemental Hero Liquid Soldier, which is what we call him at locals, is Elemental Hero Squirtman, which is hilarious that we do that. Yeah, I know. I just, every time I see this card, I think of one of my friends, and he just goes, "Stop! Stop!" So shout out to Jordan. I have to give him a quick shout out because I love doing these videos because they're so much more lighthearted than the deck profiles. With deck profiles, I try and make it to the point with the decks. Sometimes we have a little bit of humor, but these are going to be a lot more humorous, if you know what I mean. So we're going to do Skull Servants at some point. Don't worry. So let's see what we can get this next hand. So for this next hand, we're going to get a really good hand because you can get a search off of the normal summon of the... When this card's normal summon, you can special summon a hero monster from your hand. Yeah, that's one of them. Liquid Soldier special summons from grave or something, and then Solid Soldier special summons from hand, which kind of messes me up sometimes. After I go back and read, I'm like, wait, which one are you? And then this one, the Vion, or not the Vion, but the Ferris is always a good starter card. And then we have an E-Call as well, so we have a lot of plays to go around right there. So that would be an ideal hand to start with, to be honest. If you open up a Shadow Mist, which is a brick that you can discard to trigger its effect off of the Ferris discard, it's always good. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's see what we draw in this next hand. And I will say the reason I play Judgment in here is just in case I get pushed to go second. It's a really, or pushed to go first, I mean. It's really good to get out that card because it just stops your opponent from doing like lightning storms and hand traps and stuff like that against you that you just don't want to deal with. So let's see what we get in this next hand. Alright, so here we go. Let's see what we get. So our first hand that we're going to get out of to play test with is going to be a Ferris, which is good already. Call by the Grave, so we stop a hand trap. We're going to get our plays off. Rhoda, which is a search. A second Ferris, we can always discard the second Ferris. You usually don't want to see 2 of them, but that's fine. And a Destiny Fusion. That's really good because that's going to get us something to graveyard. So I'm going to go with I'm going second because I usually call second for heroes if I get the opportunity. And I'm going to get a Miracle Fusion, which is, it's fine. Let's start off by doing this. Let's go ahead and Destiny Fusion, and we're going to immediately drop the Call by the Grave because somebody's going to hit this with a copy of Ash. Always going to hit that with Ash. And we send 2 heroes from our deck to the graveyard because we are going to fusion summon into our Destiny hero Dangerous. I don't go into Dystopia that much. I usually just go for Dangerous, which is a lot easier to go for. So let's just go for that. I guess I'll send to graveyard a Malicious. I always send Malicious to graveyard, and I would probably send a copy of Shadow Mist, because Shadow Mist is going to add a hero from our deck to our hand, which is going to be really beneficial. I'm not going to, I don't even know why I'm shuffling this, because I'm going to go right back in. I seem to do that a lot whenever I play, is I always shuffle even though I'm going right back in. It's kind of like a habit of mine. So we're going to summon the Dangerous onto our side of the field, and we're going to get a Search, and I'm going to go ahead and banish the Shadow, or I'm going to go ahead and banish the Malicious because we're going to go right back in for the second Malicious anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and summon the second Malicious, and we're going to get a Search off of the Shadow Mist, which I'm going to go ahead and grab my Evil Hero Adusted Gold because Shadow Mist grabs any hero from the deck. So you can grab that Adusted Gold. See, I'm shuffling again. I'm going right back in. I'm going to discard the Adusted Gold just to go ahead and get it out of the way. Remember, I haven't normal summoned. So I'm going to go right back in, and I'm going to grab my copy of Dark Calling. I'm not going to shuffle this time. Got to remind myself. Then I'm going to activate my Rhoda to get my second Search. Usually your opponent's going to only have like maybe one hand trap that they're going to go off with. I'm just going to immediately grab Stratos, because Stratos is always a good card to immediately grab out of the deck. I'm going to discard from my hand one of my 2 Ferrises, and I'm going to summon a Ferris. See, this is why I like heroes, is because there's so many different ways that you can go about with heroes, which is really cool. Ferris is going to trigger, and it's going to put Increase in my back row as a continuous trap card, which is kind of neat. Then I'm going to tribute the Ferris to special summon out my Increase, and Increase's effect is going to then trigger, which is going to be a really neat effect that's going to trigger off. We're going to special summon out a copy of our Vision Hero Vion, because the effect of this is that you special summon this from your spell and trap card zone, then you get to special summon another hero, Vision Hero. So Vion is then going to trigger and send another hero from our deck to the graveyard, which is going to help us out a lot because it's going to get another hero out of our deck, which is just going to be really, really, really nice to get it out of the deck. At this point, if you hadn't sent a copy of Shadow Mist, you could send the Shadow Mist, but I'm probably just going to send Celestial, because Celestial is going to help. Actually, no, I'm going to send Liquid Soldier, because if I send Liquid Soldier and then I use the Miracle Fusion, I can instantly go for my copy of, what's his name? Oh my god, it's on the tip of my tongue. I'm going to have to look. That's going to drive me nuts. Hold on. His name is Absolute Zero. We're going to go for Absolute Zero. But something you have to keep in mind when you're doing all these plays is we did resolve a Destiny Fusion. And the effect of Destiny Fusion, so I can zoom in really quick, is that its effect is for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except for dark heroes. All of these are dark heroes, so don't worry about that. But that's something that you need to keep in mind, is you can't fusion summon into him. That's going to be a follow-up play for the next turn, which is totally fine. You have a backup plan for the next turn. Then I'm going to normal summon out my Stratos. And once I normal summon out the Stratos, I'm going to use the Stratos to add a hero from my deck to my hand. And I'm going to add my Plasma from my deck to my hand, which is going to be the card that you're always usually going to add. I think that's going to be the last time. I'm going in one more time. I'm going to use the Vion's effect one time, and I'm going to banish a hero from my graveyard. Actually, I'm going to banish the Vion, or I'll banish Ferris. I just need to keep a level 5 or higher in my graveyard. Banish the Ferris. And then once you banish the Ferris, you can add a copy of Polymerization, which I have 3 call E. I'm going to add Polymerization from my deck to my hand because it searches off of the copy of Vion, which is kind of neat that you get a Polymerization. You just play it as a one-of because it thins the deck a little bit. And it's kind of like, again, a follow-up play. I could go for Adoration here, or I could go for Trinity if I know I could OTK because he's a dark hero monster. I could drop the poly, fusion summon all 3 of these heroes right here, or any of the heroes on my field, or even the plasma in my hand to go for Trinity and OTK my opponent, swinging at him 3 times for 5,000 if I want to go that route. But if I want to establish a little bit more of a control-based board, which I'm going to show you guys, I'm just going to show you, for instance, if you do use the polymerization, you just instantly summon out your copy of Trinity, which is going to be kind of neat just to get that Trinity out on your side of the field. But for, conversation's sake, I'm going to carry it a little bit further than just going for the Trinity, because that would pretty much be the end of the turn. So, what do we do from here now that we have 5 monsters on the field? So here's what you do. You link these 2 away. And then once you link these 2 away, Malicious at 1, or Malicious at 2 is actually, I like Malicious at 2. Because when you put Malicious at 2, it's a little bit easier to deal with because you're not breaking with 3, in my opinion. I don't really care if it's at 2 with heroes. It's totally fine. But what Cross Crusader does is it lets you special summon another hero monster from your graveyard that's a Destiny hero, and then you can tribute a Destiny hero to add a hero from your deck to your hand, which I am going to tribute one of my hero monsters to add my Honest Neos from my deck to my hand, because then it's going to increase the attack of my monsters by 2,500 when I declare attacks, which is going to be really nice. Now, at this point, you could link summon into Dread Decimator if you want to link summon into Dread Decimator, but I'm not a big fan of going into that card all that much in this deck because it's 3 resources and you're using that when you can summon Plasma. So I'm going to tribute summon, or I'm going to tribute to special summon all 3 of these, and then special summon out my Destiny Hero Plasma, which is going to make it so my opponent can activate any effects on the field that are monster effects, and I can take an opponent's monster and attach it to him as a material, and he gains half the attack of the monster that's equipped to him. So for instance, just let's say they have a Boral Sword on their side of the field, I can equip the Boral Sword to him, he gains 1,500 attack, then goes all the way up to 3,400, and he's able to swing too. That's really good to get a Plasma out on the field, because you're basically skill draining your opponent's side of the field, but not yours. But we're not done yet. We're not even done. You can even go for Dark Calling. This is why I love Dark Calling in this deck, is because now I can fusion summon from my graveyard using an Evil Hero, a Dusted Gold, and a Ferris. Or you could use, in my normal play, what I'll do is I'll use a Malicious. If I didn't have the Ferris, you can use Malicious. Just any level 5 or higher hero monster works. And you fusion summon both of those, and then you summon Bane. So now you have Bane, Plasma, and Cross Crusader on your side of the field, and then you have a follow-up play next turn where you can Miracle Fusion directly into your copy of Absolute Zero or Sunriser. It depends on which one you want to go for. You can go for either one of these, which is really cool that you can go into both of those in the extra deck. Now, something I will show you guys, we are going to go to the next turn. I'm just going to go to the next turn and show you really quickly what our draw card would be. Our draw would be a Judgment, which is a little bit late for it, but that's totally fine. If you just set the Judgment, you could then use a Miracle Fusion. If I didn't OTK, I would probably OTK him with this. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. This would probably have been it before the last turn. But if I didn't, and I went into the next turn, let's just say that I banish the Solid Soldier, or the Liquid Soldier, and I banish a copy of... it doesn't even matter. Let's just say Shadow Mist. Okay, we're just going to banish those 2 and immediately go for the Absolute Zero right here. And then the effect of our Liquid Soldier is going to trigger because it was used as a fusion material to let us draw 2 cards and then discard a card if it's banished from the graveyard for a Miracle Fusion, essentially. So we're going to draw 2 and discard 1. So there we even have more plays going off. Like, this deck doesn't run out of fuel. I could then normal summon this and keep going with the hand, but I'm just showing you a simplistic. Let's just say if they did board wipe all of this, we could still go into a Dust or our Absolute Zero, and then if they destroy this, then it destroys all their monsters. And if I can get into a copy of my what's it's called, Mass Change, I can change this out, go for Acid, and then destroy their entire field because I'm destroying all their back row and all their monsters, which is another way that you can actually go about this deck, which is kind of neat. So that's it for the first test hand. I'm going to go into the second test hand. Give me 1 second because I am going to have to get all the extra deck stuff out of the graveyard, because you go through a lot of extra deck monsters in Heroes very quickly. And it's really fast. Like, the deck is super fast. It has the reason I like Heroes is because there's not really there's a bunch of tech cards that you can play in here. You could change out the Celestial for draw hand, for Destiny Hero draw hand. The ratios, you kind of want to keep the amounts of the Destiny Heroes, like 4 to 5 Destiny Heroes. You want to keep the Vision Heroes at like 7, which is 3 Ferrises, 2 Increases, and 2 Vions, and you want to play 1 Poly. But a lot of the stuff, like the Judgments, you can play Impermanence in that place. You can play Ash Blossom in that place. You can play anything you want. I just like the Judgments because they're always live and they stop anything. And if my opponent's going to do something against me, I just drop a Judgment and I'm like, hey, no, yeah, I'm going to keep playing. No, thank you. So let's get into our second test hand and see what we can do. So this is going to be our last test hand for the video. I think this time I'm going to go first because I went second last time, so we'll go first this time. So for the first test hand, we're going to draw. Okay, see, that's why I go first. If I get pushed to go first, we have the Judgment, Call by the Grave, second Judgment, Mass Change, and a Stratos. This is fine. This doesn't look fine, but it's fine. Okay, so we're going to go first. This is going to be very simplistic. I might even go to turn 3 just to show you guys what we can do. We have 3 negates in our hand and a Stratos. This is fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to normal summon the Stratos because that's our only real play that we have. We're going to use the Stratos effect, and we're going to get probably Ashed or something, and we're going to Call by the Grave it and negate it. Okay, so the Stratos is then going to search us a card from our deck that's any hero monster that we want to grab. So I would probably grab a Ferris for the follow-up turn. But if you don't want to grab the Ferris, yeah, I probably would grab Ferris. Yeah. Because if you wanted to grab something else, you could grab Shadow Mist or something like that, and then normal summon it the next turn, and then go Mass Change into Dark Law. But at this point, I kind of just want to stick with a safe play, because I'm going first, and a safe play is to not go all the way in at your opponent on the first turn, and then be able to summon a little bit later, without them establishing a crazy board. So let's just say that we summon the Stratos. I set both my Judgments and my Mass Change, because I can always go into Masked Hero Blast if I want to, which is an option. And I have a Ferris. So it goes to their turn, and I Judgment them once, I Judgment them twice, and then I've essentially ended their turn, because it's hard to play through at least 2 negates, okay? This is going to be really tough for them to play through. So at this point, I might have card advantage, I might not. It depends on what I'm playing against. I might not even have to resolve both the Judgments. So we're going to draw, and as long as we draw a hero, we're fine. So we're going to draw our Vion, and once we draw the Vion, we're in a really good place. You can discard the Vion, special summon the Ferris, and we're going to start looping, or not looping, but going through the motions with our heroes at this point. So at this point, we're just going to put an Increase on the field. Increase is then going to tribute the Ferris, which is going to special summon itself. And then special summon our other Vion from the deck. Vion is then going to send from our deck to the graveyard our Malicious. Malicious is then going to special summon or banish itself to special summon another Malicious. We have 4 monsters on field just off of that. We could Mass Change at this point and go for Dark Law. We could Link Summon. We could do a lot of different things in this position. But what I'm going to do is, since I didn't normal summon, because I special summoned the Ferris, I'm going to Link Summon, which is a really important thing to do at this point. But wait before you Link Summon. You do have the Vion effect that you can trigger. We only have 2 heroes in the graveyard. You can banish Vion for Vion's effect. So we're going to banish the Vion, use its effect, search our polymerization. Now we have a poly in hand. We just open up a lot more plays. If you know that you can OTK your opponent, why not go for Trinity? It doesn't have to be that complicated with heroes. You could just go for polymerization at this point, drop a copy of Trinity, swing at your opponent for 5,000 3 times. If they have at least 2 face-up attack position monsters that you can beat over that are 1,000 attack or so, then you can just attack them and win. The only thing that Trinity can't do is attack directly, so that's just something you need to keep in mind. You can even flip your copy of Mass Change and go Trinity, attack 3 times, flip this, tag it out, and go for Dark Law, and then hit them again for 2,400, and you win. I mean, this deck has so much potential that's ridiculous. So, what are we going to do now? We haven't normal summoned at all. So how can I get another search? There is still search potential. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link these 2 to the graveyard. And I'm going to go for our Cross Crusader, which is the best link monster in the entire deck. Cross Crusader's effect is then going to special summon a hero, Destiny hero from the graveyard, which is going to be our Malicious. We then tribute the Malicious, and we get a search from the deck. So I'm going to search my favorite, Stratos. Everybody's favorite. So we're going to normal summon Stratos. Stratos is then going to search. At this point, I could go for Plasma if I wanted to, but Plasma is too much of a commitment with a fragile field like this. Fragile field. We don't have as many monsters as we did in the first turn. I search Dusted Gold. A Dusted Gold is always a 1-for-1 that you're going to get either ashed or it's going to get a play off or something. You're going to get something out of it. You're either going to bait your opponent or you're going to get a play off of it. So I'm going to discard my Dusted Gold. And after I discard my Dusted Gold, I'm going to search my copy of Dark Calling. Now I have a Bane. I also have a Bane on the field, and I can make a Trinity if I want to make a Trinity, or I can make any of my hero monsters that I want to make. I have a lot of options at this point, which is really cool. So at this point, we have a couple of different ways that we can go. I could go, actually, I'm just going to go with the easiest way. Let's go with the easiest way, guys. Sunriser. Sunriser, you're going to look at this card and be like, wait, what? But this card's actually the way to go. So what you do is you go Dark Calling, you banish these two, you summon the Bane, summon our big boy Bane, and then we haven't used Poly yet, so we're going to use Poly. We're going to fusion summon the Increase and the Stratos to the graveyard, and once we do fusion summon those, you get your Sunriser. Okay? Now that it's Sunrise, we can play some more Yu-Gi-Oh! And you can actually even go a little bit further. Now at this point, you could go for Dread Decimator. You could link these two together and summon Dread Decimator up here. Not that one. You could summon Dread Decimator up here by linking these two away. Or you could do what I would prefer to do, because these are already big enough, and you're going to get a search off of this. Don't forget to get your search, because you're going to get a copy of Miracle Fusion. As soon as you fusion summon this card, if this card is special summon, you get to add a Miracle Fusion from your deck to your hand, which is kind of neat. So we have a couple of different plays that we could go for here. You could go for a fusion play. You could go for a link play. But what I'm going to do is the standard hero play. So the standard hero play at this point would be a Miracle Fusion. You go for Miracle Fusion here. You have two heroes in your graveyard. Any two heroes that you want to go for. And you could fusion summon. Actually, I don't even know if I can use the Miracle Fusion at this moment, because I don't think I have. No, I don't have a water monster in the graveyard. So we're going to hold the Miracle Fusion. We can't use the Miracle Fusion. At this point, you could go for Dread Decimator, or you could even go for the Mass Change. I probably would go for the Mass Change to get Dark Law on the field, because it's a little bit more of a protection kind of thing. I'd summon Dark Law right over here by linking or sending this one to the graveyard, and that's all you need to do. You still have the Miracle Fusion play for the follow-up if you want to go for that later on. If you can get a copy of Liquid Soldier to the graveyard, you can just Miracle Fusion into that. But your only two targets for the Miracle Fusion in the extra deck is the solid Absolute Zero, or a copy of your Sunriser, which we already used. But at this point, you could just draw, and you draw into something else, and that's it. So that's pretty much how the heroes work. It's a lot of combos. It's a lot of different ways. You just kind of got to look at what you have when you start. You always want to start with a Ferris or a Stratos if you can, because those are your big search cards that you're going to be drawing a lot of cards off of and getting a lot of plays off of. Now, I will mention you guys, you don't have to play the Dusted Gold, because I know those cards are like $100 each, which is absolutely insane that card is still that much. It needs to get reprinted. And Bane is like in the $80 range, so that's a lot for this deck. But if you're going to play competitive, I highly recommend the Evil Hero package. But if you don't want to go that route, like I said, my deck profile, which will be in the description of this video, you can actually take those out and play some hand traps, because you're taking out two cards out of the main deck and taking one out of the extra deck. You can play another instant view or a Miracle Fusion target if you want to go that route as well. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really fun deck to play around with, as you guys saw. I hope you really enjoyed this test hand. I'm going to try and do some more test hands later on, but I hope that you do enjoy the test hands, and definitely give this video a like. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.